The Egyptian Museum, also known as the Museum of Egyptian Antiquities, it is home to one of the most extensive collections of ancient Egyptian artifacts in the world, with over 120,000 items on display. The most famous exhibit in the museum is the collection of artifacts from the tomb of Tutankhamun, including the iconic golden mask, jewelry, and other objects. Royal mummies. The museum has a collection of mummies of some of Egypt's most powerful pharaohs, including Ramses II, Seti I, and Hatshepsut. The museum has a collection of artifacts from the New Kingdom period, including the statues of Amenhotep III and Akhenaten. Amarna artifacts. The museum has a collection of artifacts from the Amarna period, including the statue of Akhenaten and the bust of Nefertiti. Old Kingdom artifacts. The museum has a collection of artifacts from the Old Kingdom period, including the Narmer palette, which is considered to be one of the most significant artifacts in Egyptian history. Middle Kingdom artifacts. The museum has a collection of artifacts from the Middle Kingdom period, including the statues of Seneret III and Amenemhat III. New Kingdom artifacts. Papyrus scrolls. The museum has a collection of papyrus scrolls, including the Book of the Dead, which provides information about ancient Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. These are just a few of the main things to see in the Egyptian Museum. Animal mummies. The museum has a collection of animal mummies, including crocodiles, cats, and birds. There are many other artifacts on display that are also worth seeing, making it a must-visit destination for anyone interested in ancient Egyptian history and culture. The museum also provides detailed information about the mummification process and the history of the mummies on display. Allowing visitors to learn about ancient Egyptian culture and traditions in a respectful and educational manner. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo has a collection of mummies that were wrapped using a variety of techniques and materials, depending on the time period in which they were mummified. The basic process of mummification involved removing the internal organs, treating the body with preservatives, and wrapping it in linen bandages. The organs were placed in canopic jars, which were often decorated with images of the four sons of Horus, who were believed to protect the organs in the afterlife. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo has several statues of Amenhotep III and Seneret III, two significant pharaohs in Egyptian history who ruled during different time periods. There are several statues of Amenhotep III and Taya on display in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. One of the most famous is the colossal double statue of Amenhotep III and Taya. Queen Meritamun was a wife of Pharaoh Ramesses IV who ruled Egypt during the 20th dynasty in the New Kingdom period. The coffin of Queen Meritamun is made of wood and decorated with intricate paintings and hieroglyphics. The exterior of the coffin is painted with scenes and images from ancient Egyptian mythology. Cows were highly revered in ancient Egypt. and their importance is reflected in the many cow-related artifacts and coffins on display at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The museum is home to an extensive collection of ancient Egyptian artifacts and treasures. Some of the most notable artifacts from Deir el-Bahari that are displayed in the Cairo Museum include statues and reliefs depicting the female pharaoh Hatshepsut, as well as other members of her family and court. The museum also houses artifacts from other prominent ancient Egyptian sites, such as the Pyramids of Giza, the Valley of the Kings, and the Temple of Karnak. The falcon mummy on display at the Cairo Museum is one of many animal mummies in the museum's collection. Other animal mummies include those of cats, dogs, crocodiles, and baboons, which were all considered sacred in ancient Egyptian religion and were often mummified and buried with great care. The Cairo Museum, officially known as the Egyptian Museum, is home to a vast collection of ancient Egyptian artifacts, including coffins. Here are some of the different types of coffins you can find in the museum. Anthropoid coffins. These are coffins that are designed to look like the human body, with a headrest and a detailed face on the lid. They were used for the burials of important people in ancient Egypt. Cartonnage coffins. These are coffins made of layers of linen or papyrus, covered in plaster or gesso, and painted with intricate designs and hieroglyphics. They were typically used for the burials of pharaohs or other high-ranking officials. Canopic coffins. These are small, intricately decorated coffins that held the canopic jars that contained the organs of the deceased. Child coffins. These are smaller coffins designed to hold the remains of children. They were often decorated with images of children or protective deities. These are just a few examples of the many different types of coffins you can find in the Cairo Museum. Each one offers a unique glimpse into the burial practices and beliefs of ancient Egyptians. The mummies of Thuya and Yuya were discovered in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor and are currently on display at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The mummies are notable for their well-preserved condition and the intricate decorations that were found with them. Thuya and Yuya were a married couple who lived during the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt and were the parents of Queen Tiya, the wife of the pharaoh Amenhotep III and the mother of the famous pharaoh Akhenaten. Both Thuya and Yuya were members of the royal court and were known for their wealth and influence. Thuya's mummy is adorned with a number of beautiful jewelry pieces, including a delicate golden headdress and a necklace made of gold and lapis lazuli. Yuya's mummy, on the other hand, is decorated with a number of intricate amulets, including a scarab beetle and a figure of the god Anubis. Both mummies have been extensively studied by archaeologists and researchers, who have used advanced scientific techniques to learn more about their lives and deaths. Through analysis of their mummies, researchers have been able to determine that Thuya and Yuya likely died in their 50s and suffered from several medical conditions, including osteoporosis and arthritis. The mummies of Thuya and Yuya, along with many other artifacts from ancient Egypt, are on display at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, which is a must-visit destination for anyone interested in ancient history and culture. Cairo Museum houses several containers that were used to hold the preserved organs of deceased individuals in ancient Egypt. In ancient Egyptian religion, it was believed that the soul of the deceased needed to be reunited with their body in order to enter the afterlife.
On the internal organs were removed from the abandoned man and presented in the containers. Containers के अंदर उनके organs.
As a result, the internal organs of the deceased were removed during the mummification process and placed in special containers, known as canopic jars, which were then buried with the mummy. The canopic jars were typically made of stone or pottery and were often decorated with images of the 4 sons of Horus, who were believed to protect the organs. The Egyptian Museum in Cairo has a collection of mummies that were wrapped using a variety of techniques and materials, depending on the time period in which they were mummified. The basic process of mummification involved removing the internal organs, treating the body with preservatives, and wrapping it in linen bandages. The organs were placed in canopic jars, which were often decorated with images of the 4 sons of Horus, who were believed to protect the organs in the afterlife. The wrapping process was very elaborate, with each layer of linen bandages being carefully applied and secured in place with resin or glue. The mummy was often adorned with amulets and jewelry, which were believed to provide protection and power in the afterlife. Different types of mummies were wrapped in different ways. For example, the mummies of pharaohs were often wrapped in layers of gold, while animal mummies were wrapped in smaller bandages and placed in ornate containers. The Egyptian Museum has examples of mummies from different time periods, including the Old Kingdom, Middle Kingdom, and New Kingdom. Visitors to the museum can see examples of mummies and learn about the different techniques and materials used in the mummification process through the displays and exhibits. Amenhotep III was one of the most powerful pharaohs of the New Kingdom period of ancient Egypt and was known for his extensive building projects and military campaigns. Its large size and level of detail provide valuable insights into the artistic and cultural achievements of ancient Egypt. And it is considered to be one of the most important artifacts in the museum's collection.
Silver, more precious than gold at that time. Lapis lazuli and coal, sea coal like silver.
The statue of Amenhotep III and Taya is an ancient Egyptian artifact that is currently on display at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. There are several depictions of Amenhotep III and Queen Taya together in various artworks from ancient Egypt. One such depiction shows Amenhotep III seated on a throne, with Queen Taya seated on his left side. This particular artwork is known as the Qam el-Hedin throne, and is now housed in the Egyptian Museum in Cairo. The artwork shows Amenhotep III and Queen Taya wearing ornate headdresses and garments, and holding hands. It is believed to depict the Pharaoh's Jubilee celebration, which was a major festival held to commemorate a king's 30th year on the throne. The positioning of Queen Taya on Amenhotep III's left side was significant, as the left side was considered to be the more important or strong side in ancient Egyptian culture. This positioning may have been intended to highlight Queen Taya's status and influence as Amenhotep III's chief wife and consort. The statue was discovered in the funerary temple of Amenhotep III at Qam el-Hedin in Luxor in 1933 and has since become one of the most famous artifacts in the Egyptian Museum's collection. It provides valuable insight into the lives and beliefs of ancient Egyptians and is a must-see destination for anyone interested in ancient history and culture. The Egyptian Museum was founded in 1858 by the famous French archaeologist Auguste Mariette. The museum's collection includes artifacts from all periods of ancient Egyptian history, from the pre-dynastic period to the Roman era. Some of the most famous artifacts on display include the treasures of Tutankhamun's tomb, the Narmer palette, the statue of Khafra, and the mummy of Ramses II. The museum also has an extensive collection of papyrus scrolls, pottery, and jewelry. In recent years, plans have been made to move the museum to a new location near the Giza pyramids. As the current building has become overcrowded and lacks modern amenities. However, the move has been delayed due to logistical and financial issues, and the museum remains open to the public in its current location. It provides valuable insight into the lives and beliefs of ancient Egyptians and is a must-see destination for anyone interested in ancient history and culture.
कैसा रहा आपका टूर?